Bianca. I'm the Country Development Manager for Placement International. Today I will be representing the Hospitality Academy as well as the Miami Hotel School. I am sitting in the presence of a culinary extraordinaire. Chef Blake Anderson, complex executive chef overseeing 5 flagship restaurants, Monte Casino, part of the Togosan Hotel Group, and also part of the South African National Culinary Team since 2013. Wow, Chef Blake, please tell us more. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Awesome, Bianca, thank you very much. Yes, as mentioned, my name is Blake Anderson. I'm the complex exec chef for Monte Casino. So I work for the division of the casino side. I oversee the entire food and beverage component with about 5 to 7 restaurants, as well as assist with the flagship of Billy G chain across South Africa, plus minus about 7 to 8 restaurants in the moment. Myself personally, I've just been in the industry for about plus minus 15 years, and yeah, love every minute of it.
Wow. Now, Chef Blake, we always tell our students the importance of having career objectives, having a goal and working towards that goal. Did you know way back when you were a student that you wanted to become a complex executive chef?
I wouldn't necessarily say a complex chef, but it was a goal to always strive to become a head chef or an executive chef. When I entered the industry, I actually went into the hospitality management side, being front of house, started to understand that I had a passion or a love for the back of house, for the food section, and started working in that section, went and studied and did a lot of studying. And realized, okay, cool, I've got goals to work towards. And 2 of the goals I did manage to achieve, and that's what I pushed for. And that was the Culinary Olympic team, and that was a head chef. When I finished chefing school, I went and worked for a good couple of years in Cape Town. And then in that process realized, okay, I need some direction, I need some goals. And the goal was to become a head chef. I made a goal by 27 that I wanted to become a head chef, and I achieved it by 25. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights, a lot of sacrifices, but I made it a goal and I did it.
Yeah,
I really did it. Yeah.
So. And how on earth did you, shall I say, reach or achieve being part of the South African culinary team? Was that always a goal of yours?
Surprisingly, part of it was, if that's the best way to describe it, when I was studying, my close mentor as well as our principal of the chef school was Rudy Liedenberg. Now, Rudy was part of the Olympic squad that went over, and he started telling us and giving us a bit more advice and information pertaining to the Olympic team. And for me, that just hit this light bulb moment saying, I want that.
Wow.
I want to achieve something like that. And I mean, I was 23 years of age when I started basically training under him. And I said, cool, I need to achieve this. At that stage, I was a bit too old for the junior squad. So I said, Chef, can I follow you? Can I see what you're up to? And when he was practicing, I used to practice under him. And I said, I will make it a goal to get onto the Olympic team one day. And by 2013, I started, knocking on doors saying, listen, let me in. I want to be part of the squad. And yeah, I did. I joined as an appy. I worked behind the scenes, washing pots and packing boxes and those things. But I made it a goal to get there. And it took me a long journey, but I got in. And that's, I think for me, was the biggest milestone.
Oh, wow. But tell me, how do you actually balance training for the squad, for the culinary team, and, looking after your daily job?
It was difficult, I'm not going to lie. It was impeccably tough. It affects a lot of things from your home life to your personal life. And there's always going to be a sacrifice at some point. And there was actually a saying that if you want to achieve success, you need to sacrifice something. And if it's either your health or your wealth or your family or something has to give. Yeah. And my family was very supportive. And I think that helped immensely. Part of my work scope, they said, go with it. Let's see where this road takes you. And I think that gave me a massive opportunity. So when I was at work, I was able to practice. On my days off, then I was with the culinary team. So it was 4 years of sacrifice. It was tough. But for me, the opportunity when I was able to go overseas and join the Olympic squad in Germany, you were able to stand there amongst Michelin star chefs, guys that are, can I say, even more dedicated than you. And you think you're already, putting 90 hours in, and now these guys are doing even more. And you're like, wow, you feel left behind. And I think South Africa coming along, it's not to say that we a lower entry. We've always got to fight harder. We've always got to struggle harder. And it's not that it's not in our nature. South Africans are the hardest working people that I've come across. And when we go overseas, people are like, okay, where do these guys come from? Because they don't know. It's somewhere in our blood. It's somewhere, because we have to fight for things. We have to push for things. And I think when you get overseas and you're standing in the Olympics and you're seeing, I mean, when we were against Norway, I think 4 of the 8 members were all Michelin star chefs. And you automatically got this doubt in your head saying, oh, well, you know, I either just make it or don't make it. And you're there, you knee deep in it, and you just keep on pushing. And you actually sit back going, holy crap, I achieved something. And it was through dedication, hard work, perseverance, and just a lot of practice, a lot of practice.
Oh, that's so inspiring. But it must be every single chef's dream to actually represent their country at the Eco-Culinary Olympics. What advice would you give to youngsters how to one day become part of the South African national culinary?
I think that is very well said. You know, I think the hardest challenge that a lot of chefs go through is this industry is huge. I mean, you look just from restaurants, hotels, and catering, that's 3 components. But you start to dabble in everything from film to photography to this. And I think regardless of even joining the Olympic squad, I think a chef's goal and what they want to achieve is a major component. And if something like achieving Olympic colors or representing your country is part of that, you do it. You just
put yourself out
put yourself out there. But I guess that's any career.
Yeah.
If you don't put yourself out there, you're going to be sitting in the back seats.
No,
and for a lot of chefs to achieve that status, and I never went for the status, that was never part of my goal to sit back and say, oh, I'm an Olympic chef. That was never part of it. I wanted to see how far I could push myself. And I think it was, and afterwards you sit back and you say, okay, I'm tired. I'm tired now. Like I need a break. But typical work, you know, 2 days later you're back at work already, because you thrive on this industry. You thrive on the passion, you thrive on the adrenaline. And I think for anyone that's wanting to achieve something is just put your head down and go for it. Push, keep pushing.
Yeah, absolutely, work for it.
Yeah.
But now tell me, what has been your greatest hurdle in your career and how did you overcome it?
I think finding your feet in this industry is definitely part of it. As I mentioned prior, there's so many different avenues that a chef can go into, from film to working on airlines to working on yachts. There's so many components. I think the biggest juggle is finding your feet in the industry and where do you fit into the giant puzzle. Work-life balance is definitely a tough one. In our industry, we're working holidays, you're working birthdays, you're working weekends. And you can either get extremely angry and frustrated by it, and I think a lot of chefs do, but also part of it is I just need to not say accept it, but this is the industry I've chosen, and this is part and parcel of it. So once you've kind of accepted that side of it, you kind of just go with it. And I think having a supportive family and friends is a huge component, because if you hear so many horror stories of guys saying, well, I don't have a family, I don't have this, I don't have that. And it's like, but how do you achieve it? And it is finding that balance. And I think the hardest part for me is wanting to be at home, but also wanting to be at work at the same time. And it's a sacrifice that you make.
Yeah.
It is. But
and sorry, did you ever have a mentor or someone that really inspired you? You mentioned Chef Ruby, but
100%. Yeah, for me, mentors are a integral part of this industry. I think just even in life, I think from a small child, you're either looking up to mom or dad or a brother because they've gone through this and you understand what they've gone through. In the industry, I've had a lot of mentors because one being 30, 40 years older than me, they've had to go through the slog. So I needed to see how do they make it happen. Mentors for me have been Hans Brunner, have been Arnold Tanzer, have been Stephen Billingham. And for me, those people have had to slog. They didn't arrive and everything just landed on their doorstep. They had to work to achieve something. And I think that's a massive inspiration. Mentors mean a lot in your life because it could be a simple conversation. It could be a moment of family wisdom or a work wisdom. It could just be looking at something from a different point of view. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that you need to look at things from different angles. And I think also with this job that it's given me, this opportunity is I'm not just an executive chef, I'm a coach, I'm a boss, I'm a leader, I'm these things. and people are going to come to you to say,
absolutely,
Chef, what do I do? It's a family issue or it's a work-life issue, and you've got to have an answer. And if you don't, be brave enough to say, I don't have the answer, but I'm going to go find it for you.
Yes. So you would say that you've got a hands-on approach and you're kind of there for your team and that, which leads me to, what does a day or a week in the life of a complex executive chef look like? And how do you actually overcome challenges on a day-to-day basis?
Very good question. Besides when we know that functions and events are happening, we plan as much as best as possible. With events and functions, we start at least 2 to 3 weeks prior planning, because I've realized that without the planning, your team suffers. And if you are falling behind, your team falls behind. So it's taken me a good 4 or 5 years to build up a team that I can totally rely on.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest part of that is each day is different. I come in and depending on the day, generally your Mondays and Tuesdays are a lot quieter for me, so I can tackle my admin, do the costings and focus on that side of the business. Coming to the weekends is, we know that's where your main trade sits, on being Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays, and you build your team up towards that if they can run, if I have to step out, they can continue. And that's been the hardest challenge, is finding the right teammates to work with. And I don't see my staff as just another chef or another staff member. They play a very, very big role in my life. And without them, I wouldn't be able to do this job. That's the biggest crux of this business.
Okay. And what is the most fulfilling part of your job?
I think there's so many components in it. To be honest, when we're doing functions and events, the work and the lead to the function is a massive part. It gets very exciting because you're kind of waiting for the event to take place. When you're in the event, it's almost, nothing can happen now, I've got to let the event run. And when something does go wrong, you kind of just adapt and flow with it. And that's the exciting part of it. I think that's where we look forward to. It's something different, it's something challenging. And I think my team also thrives on it. When there's something new, it's not the same mundane things over and over, which chefs can become complacent with. When there's something new, something exciting, it's like, cool, let's do this, chef. Like, let's bring it on. We need it, and guys get excited by it. So,
okay. But you mentioned earlier about 7-8 restaurants that you kind of manage.
Correct.
How big is your staff complement?
Depends on each outlet. My smallest outlet, I've got about 5 chefs in it, which is small for me. My biggest brigade is sitting at the moment at about 35 chefs. Bear in mind, because we also run skeleton, we run graveyard systems. So you need to make sure the business runs. But looking in total of all my restaurants, plus minus about 100 to 120 chefs.
And what is your management style?
I am very open-minded. Okay. I run a open door policy because I can learn from someone. That's how I've approached it. And someone's going to see something from a different point of view. So yes, I still have to lead and I still take responsibility, because at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, I'm the one that takes the forefront of it. So, but I will give opportunity to every single chef. It's not only seniors, it goes all the way down to my commies, because someone's going to see something from a different point of view. And we can turn around saying, wow, I never thought about that. Thank you. And we learn from each other. So yeah, I have an open door policy. I've had to learn different ways and leaderships from other chefs, because some chefs it's my way or the highway, and you take it or leave it. And from those chefs you learn why they do that. And at the end of the day, it is because it's responsibility and it's repercussions, and a lot of things come with this job, and there's a lot of pressure, immense amount of pressure. Besides the financial component, you've got customers, you've got guests, you've got your boss, you've got someone that you can either make happy or irritate the crap out of them. So the best way to put it is, you either got to find that middle ground, and we're going to work hard to get there.
No, absolutely. But now your passion started with food. Do you actually get to cook still? Are you hands-on in the kitchen? You do a lot of development as well.
Correct. I think that's where the hardest part comes in. The higher you climb, you spend a lot of time off the tools, and you spend a lot of time doing admin and things like that. And where we, as in head chefs, find your passion and keep your passion alive is through research and development. I've got to plan the new menu, I've got to plan the new recipes. So I'm constantly hunting through new recipes, new ideas, and a lot of components that I don't know enough about is where I start to dabble in. So especially like Mexican food or Mexican chilies at the moment, that's where I'm doing a lot of research on, because we don't get it in this country. Now I need to know why. Why does it taste different? What can I do to achieve that, and how can I get that product? That's where I get excited. And then when I find that stuff, I can bring my team on board and say, guys, let's cook. let's try, let's experiment. You cook it, I cook it, and we learn from each other. That's the best part. Yeah.
You do. And where do you get your inspiration from with your cooking and that? Are you following the trends, or are you kind of setting the trends?
I think it's very hard, not to say that you can't set the trends in South Africa, not to say that we're always on the back burner. I think with us, with being different seasons, it does play a different part for us. So a lot of your European countries will be ahead because of the seasons. It's not necessarily that they are setting the trends. We will try to pick up as much as possible. I do stay ahead wherever I can. I do a lot of research with trends and see, okay, cool, what is this chef doing, or what is that chef, or what is Norway doing, what is America doing,
Yes.
and try to understand these components and see, can I put it into my food? Can I try an American slow braised or a smoked food, and how would South Africa react to this?
Yes.
Because South African market and taste is very different from a European or American, but South Africans also intrigued by something different. So we can present it and like, okay, cool, we don't like it, or wow, you've hit something on the nail, let's try it.
I can absolutely feel the passion.